Before we begin, pause for a moment and take a deep breath. You are about to hear words that can shift the rhythm of your life. This is not mere advice, not empty motivation. This is spiritual law spoken into form. What you are about to learn is not new, it is eternal. Yet if you receive it with an open heart, it will become new for you today. From this moment forward, every time you touch money, every time it passes through your hands, you will hold the key to either multiply it or diminish it. This is not chance, it is choice. And today you will learn how to choose abundance. Money is alive and obedient to law. Most people live their entire lives under the assumption that money is a cold, lifeless object. They see it only as paper metal or numbers on a screen. They treat it as neutral, detached from spirit, and subject only to chance, labor, or luck. Yet the truth is far greater. Money is not a dead tool. It is not inert matter. Money is alive. It hears, it responds, and it obeys the law of spirit with perfect precision. Every dollar, every coin, every balance you see is infused with energy. It reflects the vibration of the one who touches it, speaks over it, and circulates it. When you hold money in your hand, you are not holding something separate from life. You are holding a fragment of divine substance, a shadow of invisible abundance made visible in form. Just as a seed carries within it the potential of the harvest, so too does money carry the pattern of multiplication. But the seed does not sprout without cultivation, and money does not increase without alignment to law. What law is this? It is the law of vibration, the law of spoken word, the law that says, as within, so without. As you believe so, you receive. Money is a servant of this law. It does not argue, it does not resist. It does not judge whether you are rich or poor, worthy or unworthy. It listens only to the energy and authority you transmit, and it obeys without hesitation. Think of electricity. It powers a hospital, it powers a prison. It gives light to a home and heat to a weapon. Electricity does not decide how it will be used. It simply obeys the law of conductors. In the same way, money does not choose whether it will bring joy or sorrow, plenty or lack. It mirrors the consciousness of the one who directs it. The fearful man commands money to flee. The grateful woman commands money to stay. The one who curses his supply repels it. The one who blesses it multiplies it. This is not superstition, it is spiritual law. When you understand this, money ceases to be mysterious. You no longer wonder why some struggle their whole lives, while others attract abundance with ease. The difference is not in effort. Many work themselves to exhaustion and remain broke. The difference is not in luck. Fortune does not stumble blindly into the lap of the few. The difference is law. Those who align with it receive. Those who ignore it repel. You see, every time you touch money, you are issuing a command. Even if you do not speak aloud, your heart and vibration are speaking for you. When you receive a paycheck with dread sighing that it is not enough, you have already instructed money to vanish. When you pay a bill with resentment, muttering that life is unfair, you have already ordered decrease. When you clutch a dollar in fear, convinced it may be your last, you have already declared poverty. And money, faithful servant that it is, obeys. But when you bless it, when you honor it, when you declare truth over it, then money responds as a devoted ally. The dollar you bless multiplies. The bill you pay in gratitude returns in new form. The coin you treat as sacred becomes a magnet for more. What once fled now lingers. What once hid now reveals itself. Not because money has changed, but because you have. Let us be clear, money is not your master. It is not your enemy. It is your servant, and like any servant, it waits for instruction. It stands at attention every time you touch it, waiting for the decree that will govern its path. Will you command loss, or will you command multiplication? Will you speak lack, or will you speak abundance? The choice is always yours, for the law cannot override your word. This is why careless speech is so dangerous. People joke, "I'm always broke," and money takes it seriously. They complain, "There's never enough," and money withdraws. They declare, "I can't afford that," and money, hearing the decree, ensures they cannot. The subconscious mind, which governs vibration, does not understand sarcasm. It does not know when you are joking. It records every word as law, and money obeys that law without question. Therefore, your first step to mastery is awareness. See money not as paper, not as metal, not as digits on a screen. See it as divine substance, responsive, obedient, alive. Hold it with reverence. Recognize that every transaction is a spiritual act. When you spend, you are not losing. You are circulating divine supply. When you receive, you are not merely gaining. You are proving that your vibration has called forth increase. Every interaction with money is sacred, and every word you speak in that moment is law. Once you grasp this truth, you begin to live differently. You no longer sigh when the rent is due. You no longer groan at the sight of bills. You no longer shrink in shame when you look at your account. Instead, you treat these moments as opportunities to demonstrate alignment. You bless the bill. You bless the paycheck. You bless the coin. And by blessing, you multiply. Money is alive. It listens. It obeys. It is not governed by effort, but by energy. Not by labor, but by law. And the moment you accept this truth, you step into financial dominion. You no longer fear money, for it is no longer a master. You no longer resent money, for it is no longer a mystery. You command it, bless it, and watch it multiply. This is the foundation. Before any ritual, before any affirmation, before any practice, you must understand this money is spiritual and money obeys law. How fear and negative words block abundance. If money is alive and obedient to law, then you must understand why so many people find it fleeing from their hands. The answer is not hidden in complicated systems or secret mysteries. It is simple fear, and negative words drive abundance away. Fear is the great thief. It disguises itself as caution, as wisdom, even as humility. But beneath its mask, fear always whispers the same message: there is not enough. It convinces people to hold tightly to what they have, to clutch every dollar as though it may be their last. Yet this very gripping is the vibration of loss. What you clutch in desperation cannot stay. What you hold in panic cannot multiply. Fear makes the hand a closed fist, and a closed fist cannot receive. Most people do not realize how much fear they carry when they deal with money. They pay their bills with a sigh. They swipe their card with hesitation. They look at their account with dread, bracing themselves for disappointment. Each of these small actions is a silent command. The law hears the tone of fear and simply mirrors it back: lack, delay, insufficiency. It is not the money that fails. It is the vibration of fear that blocks the flow. Words are the carriers of this fear. Every time you speak about money, you plant a seed in the soil of your subconscious. Most people, without even realizing it, sow weeds instead of wheat. They say, "I can't afford that," and the soil grows poverty. They say money is so hard to come by, and the soil grows struggle. They say it goes out faster than it comes in, and the soil grows loss. The law is not sentimental. It does not pause to consider whether you meant those words. It simply produces according to the seed you have sown. Think of a farmer. If he scatters thorn seeds and later complains that his field is covered in thorns, would you not remind him that the harvest always matches the planting? So it is with your words. The field of your life cannot bring forth abundance while you sow lack with your tongue. Even casual words, jokes, and complaints have weight. Someone laughs saying, "I'm broke," as usual, and those around chuckle. But the subconscious does not laugh. It records. It obeys. And soon enough, that person's finances echo their words. Every word is a decree, whether spoken in jest or in sorrow, whether muttered under your breath or shouted aloud. Nothing spoken is wasted. All of it is seed. Fear also teaches people to scorn money. Some say, "I hate money. It causes problems. It is the root of evil." But what you despise cannot remain with you. If you mock money, it will flee. If you resent it, it will withdraw. If you treat it as dirty, it will avoid your touch. The universe cannot allow you to hold what you reject. There are others who hold money with guilt, believing they are unworthy to have more than enough. They whisper to themselves, "It's selfish to want riches," or "Who am I to prosper when others struggle?" Yet guilt is another face of fear, and it too drives abundance away. For guilt says, "I should not have," and the law answers, "Then you will not." When you examine your speech and thoughts around money, you may begin to notice how many negative declarations you have rehearsed. Words spoken in childhood, phrases repeated from parents, beliefs inherited from culture, all of these linger like shadows in the subconscious. They become the soundtrack of poverty, playing silently in the background of your life. And until you bring them to light, they continue to command your supply. You must ask yourself with honesty, what have I been saying about money? When you open your wallet, do you sigh, "Never enough"? When you look at a price, do you mutter, "Too expensive"? When you pay a bill, do you grumble, "This always drains me"? Each phrase is a seed. Each word shapes the flow. Understand this clearly. Lack does not begin in the bank account. It begins in the belief. Poverty is not a condition of the pocket. It is a condition of the tongue. The account is only a mirror reflecting the words you have been speaking. If the reflection displeases, you do not curse the mirror. Change the words. Fear and negative speech are not minor flaws. They are blockages of law. Imagine a stream flowing steadily down the mountain. It carries water without fail. But if rocks are thrown into the stream, the flow slows. If debris clogs the channel, the water diverts. The stream itself has not dried up. The source remains strong. But the blockages prevent the water from reaching the field. In the same way, divine supply never dries up. The source is eternal. But fear, guilt, and negative words clog the channel, and abundance cannot reach you until they are removed. How then do you remove them? By replacing fear with faith, guilt with gratitude, and negative words with blessing. The law does not respond to silence. It responds to speech. You cannot simply stop speaking fear. You must begin speaking truth. You must bless every dollar you touch. You must declare increase where you once declared lack. You must replace word by word the language of poverty with the language of prosperity. Remember, this money does not flee without command, and it does not multiply without command. Your words are always commanding either toward loss or toward gain. Fear tells money to leave. Blessing tells it to stay. Complaint drives it away. Gratitude calls it forth. The law cannot be tricked, but it can be trusted. It will always obey the dominant vibration of your word. So guard your tongue, guard your thoughts. Refuse to let fear speak through you. Refuse to let casual negativity set your harvest. Instead, speak life, speak abundance, speak blessing, and as surely as seed becomes crop, your words will become wealth. Restoring the sacred view of money. The greatest error humanity has made concerning money is treating it as common. People see it as nothing more than currency, a necessary tool of survival, or worse, a dangerous temptation. They treat money with suspicion, with fear, or with disdain, never realizing that their own attitude has poisoned the flow. To restore prosperity, you must first restore the sacred view of money. Money is not carnal. It is not corrupt. It is not evil. It is divine substance made visible. It is the form through which spirit expresses supply. Just as the air you breathe is invisible but undeniable, money is the tangible echo of that invisible abundance. It is the shadow of the infinite. To treat money as separate from spirit is to strip it of its true power, for only when you unite money with the divine law of good does it flow without obstruction. Think of it this way: the same God who gives you breath gives you bread. The same divine source that keeps your heart beating also provides the means to clothe you, house you, and sustain you. Why then would money, which serves as the medium of these blessings, be considered profane? This is the world's deception. For generations, many have been taught that money is dirty, that seeking it is selfish, that having it is dangerous. These teachings do not come from spirit but from ignorance. The truth is that money, when aligned with divine law, is holy. When you treat money as sacred, you shift your entire relationship with it. No longer do you spend it with dread or hold it with guilt. Instead, you honor it as a servant of good. You recognize that every bill, every coin, every transaction is an opportunity to bless and be blessed. This transforms not only your finances but your spirit. For what you bless, you multiply, and what you scorn, you repel. Consider the act of payment. Most people see it as loss. They hand over money with reluctance, believing they are being drained. But when you restore the sacred view of money, payment becomes a holy act. You are not losing. You are circulating divine substance. You are allowing energy to move through you, knowing it will return multiplied. Just as the body thrives on circulation, so too does your financial life thrive when money flows in and out with blessing. Stagnation creates decay, but circulation creates life. To treat money as sacred also means never mocking it, never belittling it. Do not say, "It's just $1," for even the smallest bill holds the spiritual pattern of millions. Do not curse a coin or toss it aside carelessly. If you scorn what you have, you close the channel for more. But when you bless even the smallest sum, you open the door to greater supply. What you honor expands. What you dishonor diminishes. Stories throughout history show this principle in action. A woman with only $2 declared, "This is God's money. It is divine substance. It cannot be depleted. I bless it and see it multiply under grace in perfect ways." Within days, she received thousands from an unexpected source. What changed? Not the money, but her view of it. By treating those $2 as sacred, she aligned her vibration with abundance, and abundance responded. You too must learn to see beyond the surface of money. Do not look at a bill and see only paper. See the divine energy it represents. Do not look at a paycheck and see limitation. See it as proof of circulation, as evidence that your vibration has already drawn supply to you. Each financial interaction becomes an altar at which you may speak truth, bless, substance, and command multiplication. This sacred view also dissolves guilt. Many struggle with wealth because they feel unworthy to have more while others lack. But guilt is an insult to divine supply. It assumes that the universe is limited, that your gain must be another's loss. This is not so. Spirit is infinite. The supply is endless. Your abundance does not take from others. It demonstrates what is possible. When you prosper in truth, you become a testimony of divine law. Your wealth blesses not only you, but everyone you touch. To restore the sacred view of money, begin with your words. Speak to it as you would to a trusted servant. When you touch it, bless it. Say, "This money is divine substance. It cannot be depleted. It multiplies under grace in perfect ways." Speak with reverence as a priest blessing an offering, because that is what you are doing. You are sanctifying your supply, aligning it with law, and releasing it into multiplication. Next, restore sacred rhythm to your handling of money. At night and in the morning, bless it. When you pay, bless it. When you receive, bless it. Let no transaction escape your awareness. Let no coin pass through your hand without gratitude. In this way, you weave holiness into the fabric of your finances, and the law cannot help but respond with increase. Finally, remember that money is not the goal but the servant. It is not to be glorified, but neither is it to be despised. It is a channel, a tool, a mirror of your consciousness. Treat it with honor, and it will honor you. Bless it, and it will bless you. Recognize its sacred nature, and it will reveal its true power. Money is not common. It is not neutral. It is not separate from spirit. It is sacred, obedient, alive. And when you restore this view within yourself, you restore the flow of abundance in your life. Why words are never neutral. There is a truth so powerful and yet so often overlooked. Your words are never neutral. Every sentence you speak, every phrase you mutter, every declaration you release into the air is a seed that must bear fruit. Words are not empty sounds. They are not casual expressions. They are instruments of law, charged with the vibration of your belief and carried into the fabric of creation. You may think that what you say about money or about life itself does not matter if you don't really mean it. You may excuse your statements as jokes, as habits, as harmless complaints, but the law does not excuse. The subconscious does not laugh. The vibration does not vanish into nothingness. Every word is recorded. Every word is honored as command. Every word must return to you in kind. Scripture says life and death are in the power of the tongue. This is not poetry. It is spiritual law. Your tongue is the gatekeeper of your supply. the architect of your reality. When you speak, you call unseen forces into form. When you declare, you set into motion the pattern that will later appear in your life. You are never merely talking. You are always creating. Think of your words as seeds sown in the soil of the subconscious. The subconscious is the most fertile ground in existence. It never questions the seed. It never rejects the planting. It simply accepts and grows. If you plant weeds of lack, the subconscious will faithfully grow lack. If you plant seeds of abundance, the subconscious will faithfully grow abundance. The soil is impartial, but it is never idle. It always produces after its kind. This is why so many live in contradiction. They desire wealth, but speak poverty. They long for freedom, but declare bondage. They hope for increase, but complain of lack. Their words betray their desires, and law cannot be deceived. For what you say is far more powerful than what you wish. Desire may live in the heart, but decree lives on the tongue, and it is decree that governs manifestation. Consider the common phrases people use every day. I'm broke. That's too expensive. Money doesn't grow on trees. Easy come, easy go. These are not mere sayings. They are commands. The subconscious does not treat them lightly. It records broke, expensive, scarce, fleeting. And then it arranges your outer world to match the decree you yourself have sown. Even jokes carry weight. A woman may laugh and say, "One day I'll end up on the street." Her friends chuckle. The words feel light. But the subconscious does not laugh, it obeys. It begins preparing the condition she declared. And sooner or later, life echoes back her own tongue. There is no such thing as harmless speech. Every word has consequence. This is why silence too is not neutral. When you refuse to bless your money, when you withhold your decree, the world supplies its own words for you. Fear speaks in your silence. Doubt writes its own script. Lack fills the vacuum of your unspoken truth. You cannot escape the law by saying nothing. You can only govern it by saying the right thing. For in the realm of spirit, silence is not neutrality, it is submission. Understand this with clarity. The universe bends to vibration, not intention. The law responds to what is spoken, not to what is merely hoped. Hope is weak without decree. Desire is powerless without word. It is the spoken word that gives form, the decree that commands multiplication. To speak nothing is to yield your authority. To speak wrongly is to command against yourself. To speak truth is to align with law and summon abundance. So why are words never neutral? Because vibration itself is never neutral. Every sound carries frequency. Every phrase carries energy. When you speak, you transmit this energy into the unseen, and the unseen, being governed by law, must reflect it back. Just as a tuning fork vibrates and causes the strings of a piano to echo in harmony, so too does your speech vibrate and cause your outer world to echo in form. Think of your life as a mirror. When you smile into the mirror, the reflection smiles. When you frown, the reflection frowns. It cannot do otherwise. Your words are the expressions you send into the mirror of reality. If you say, "I can't afford it," the reflection shows you bills and insufficiency. If you say, "My supply is endless," the reflection shows you provision. The mirror has no will of its own. It only returns the face you give it. To live in abundance, you must become a master of speech. You must weigh every word as a priest weighs an offering, with reverence and intention. Never let your tongue utter lack, even as a joke. Never let sarcasm rob you of your supply. Never curse your own harvest with careless chatter. Instead, let your words be chosen with precision, with faith, with certainty. Speak blessing, speak increase, speak truth. This does not mean you deny reality. It means you create it. When you look at a small sum and declare, "This multiplies," you are not lying, you are aligning. When you bless a bill and say, "It returns to me pressed down, shaken together, and running over," you are not ignoring fact, you are commanding law. Truth is not what appears. Truth is what governs appearance. And your word is the vessel that carries truth into form. From this moment forward, let no word leave your lips without purpose. Guard your tongue as a sacred instrument. When fear tempts you to complain, replace it with gratitude. When lack tempts you to mutter defeat, replace it with declaration. When guilt tempts you to speak unworthiness, replace it with affirmation. For words are never neutral, and every sentence sown must one day return as harvest. Therefore, speak as one who knows. Speak as one who commands law. Speak as one whose word is not idle but creative. And in doing so, you will see your world bend to the rhythm of your tongue. Blessing versus lash. Cursing. The spiritual consequences. Every word you speak sets a direction. Every phrase carries a vibration. And when it comes to money, your words do not simply describe your financial state, they create it. To bless your money is to open the channel of abundance. To curse your money is to slam the gate of supply. This is the great divide. Blessing multiplies, cursing diminishes. The law cannot be fooled. It always fulfills the decree of the tongue. Blessing is not merely a polite thought. It is the conscious alignment of your vibration with divine substance. To bless is to recognize money as sacred, to affirm its endless source, to declare its multiplication. Blessing is the act of planting seeds of increase into the soil of your subconscious. Each time you bless your money, you engrave upon the inner law the pattern of abundance, and the outer world must eventually reflect it. When you bless money, you are not flattering it, nor are you begging. You are commanding. You are acknowledging its true nature as spiritual substance, and you are speaking its destiny into form. A blessed dollar carries within it the pattern of thousands. A blessed bill, no matter how small, becomes magnetized to return multiplied. What you bless, you expand. Cursing, on the other hand, contracts and destroys. To curse money is not only to speak ill of it, but also to handle it with fear, resentment, or guilt. When you mutter, "This is not enough," you curse it. When you say money always runs out, you curse it. When you pay a bill and sigh with dread, you curse it. Cursing plants seeds of lack, and those seeds grow with just as much obedience as the seeds of blessing. The law does not resist negativity, it simply reproduces it. Think of your words as containers of energy. When you bless, you fill the container with light, faith, and expansion. When you curse, you fill it with darkness, fear, and limitation. Then you pour that container into your financial reality. The quality of your words becomes the quality of your life. You cannot sow cursing and reap blessing. You cannot plant fear and harvest abundance. The harvest always matches the seed. Some believe their words are powerless, that only action matters. But action without blessing is empty. A farmer may scatter seeds, but if the soil is cursed, the crop will not thrive. In the same way, you may work hard, take action, and hustle, but if your words curse your money, your labor will be met with frustration. On the other hand, one who blesses consistently may work less and yet see greater increase, because blessing aligns them with divine law, which multiplies beyond human effort. The consequences of cursing money are visible everywhere. People who complain about money always find more reasons to complain. Those who declare it's never enough continually experience shortage. Those who resent wealth repel it. What you reject cannot remain, and what you dishonor cannot increase. This is not punishment, it is principle. Law mirrors the vibration it receives. If you treat money as enemy, it withdraws. If you treat it as servant, it obeys. Blessing, however, transforms every financial interaction. When you bless a bill as you pay it, you transform payment from loss to circulation. When you bless a coin, you find you transform it from insignificance to seed. When you bless your income, you amplify its rhythm. And when you bless another's prosperity, instead of envying it, you align yourself with the same law that blessed them. For what you celebrate, you invite. What you curse, you banish. Consider this. Every culture, every tradition, every faith has some form of blessing. Why? Because blessing releases power. Blessing sanctifies. Blessing calls forth multiplication. When you bless your food, it nourishes more deeply. When you bless your home, it becomes peaceful. When you bless your body, it grows strong. And when you bless your money, it increases. Blessing is a spiritual law, as ancient as creation itself. To bless money is to declare, this is divine substance. It cannot be depleted. It circulates freely, and returns multiplied. Such a statement is not wishful thinking, it is law. When spoken with rhythm and certainty, it imprints itself upon the subconscious, and the subconscious rearranges reality to match. Blessing creates pathways where none seemed possible. It opens doors that effort alone could never force. The difference between blessing and cursing can be summarized in one sentence. Blessing multiplies, cursing diminishes. One expands, the other contracts. One opens, the other closes. One aligns with abundance, the other with lack. You cannot walk in both directions at once. You must choose. With every word, every thought, every interaction, will I bless or will I curse? If you desire abundance, then let blessing become your language. Let no complaint pass your lips. Let no sigh of dread escape when you pay. Let no mockery fall upon the very supply you wish to multiply. Instead, speak life, speak honor, speak blessing. And as surely as the seed becomes the harvest, your words will return to you in multiplied form. From this day forward, understand that every interaction with money is sacred. Every transaction is an altar. At that altar, you must decide what offering you will make, blessing or cursing. One leads to multiplication. The other leads to loss. The choice is always yours, and the law is always listening. Declaring wealth as a daily practice, you now understand that words are never neutral and that blessing multiplies while cursing diminishes. But knowledge alone is not enough. Law does not respond to what you know. It responds to what you speak, to what you decree, with consistency, with rhythm, and with faith. If you would see your finances transformed, you must adopt the daily practice of declaring wealth. Declaration is not superstition. It is not the recitation of empty phrases. It is the deliberate act of aligning your vibration with divine supply. When you declare wealth, you impress the subconscious with abundance. And the subconscious, being the obedient servant that it is, begins to gather evidence in your outer world. What you speak repeatedly becomes what you believe. What you believe becomes what you experience. This is not theory, it is law. Think of a sculptor. He begins with raw stone. To the untrained eye, the stone appears formless, resistant, lifeless. But the sculptor sees what others cannot. With every strike of the chisel, he shapes the stone into form. So it is with your words. At first, your financial life may appear stubborn, unshaped, resistant. But every declaration you speak is a chisel strike upon the raw material of your reality. Day by day, strike by strike, word by word, the form emerges. This is why daily practice matters. A single declaration may lift the heart, but it is rhythm that builds law into form. Just as you would not water a plant once and expect a harvest, you cannot speak abundance once and expect lasting increase. The soil of the subconscious requires repetition. The law responds to rhythm. Your words must become a daily pattern, a spiritual heartbeat, until the vibration of wealth is carved into your very being. How then do you declare wealth as a practice? Begin with awareness. Each time you touch money, whether it is a coin, a bill, or a digital transaction, pause and bless it aloud. Say, with authority, divine substance cannot be depleted. I bless this money and see it multiply under grace in perfect ways. Let this become your sacred ritual. Do not rush it. Speak slowly with breath, as a king addressing his court or a priest sanctifying an offering. Feel the weight of your own authority, for in truth you are not asking, you are commanding. Next, establish morning and evening declarations. The gates of the subconscious are most open in the first moments of waking and the last moments before sleep. What you speak in those moments roots itself deeply. At night, say aloud, I now draw from the abundance within and see wealth without. Every dollar I touch returns to me blessed and multiplied. Let these words carry you into sleep, where the subconscious will continue to water the seed through the night. In the morning, before you reach for your phone, repeat the same declaration. Greet your supply before you greet the world. This rhythm sanctifies both the beginning and end of your day, and all the hours between must align. Throughout the day, look for opportunities to declare. When you pay a bill, do not groan. Say, instead, I circulate this money in joy, and it returns to me multiplied. When you give to another, do not shrink. Say, this gift expands my flow, and greater supply is now on its way. When you receive, say, I bless this increase, and I command its multiplication. In this way, you transform every financial act into a moment of spiritual power. But remember, declaration must not be spoken as a beggar pleads. The law does not respond to hope, it responds to certainty. Speak not as one who wishes, but as one who knows. Your tone must carry finality, not desperation. When you say, my supply is endless, do not whisper it as a faint hope. Declare it as a king declares law with authority that expects obedience. For indeed the universe itself bends to the vibration of certainty. Some may say, but I have declared and nothing has changed. To them I say, continue. The seed planted today does not bear fruit tomorrow, but if you cease watering, the soil cannot deliver. Declaration is not about instant results. It is about alignment. Each word spoken in faith shapes the unseen until the unseen must become seen. The delay is not denial, it is gestation. And when the season is ripe, the harvest comes in overflowing measure. You must also guard your consistency. Do not declare wealth in the morning and then curse your supply in the afternoon. Do not bless your money in one moment and complain of lack in the next. Such contradictions scatter the seed. The subconscious becomes confused and the harvest delays. If you would see quick demonstration, let your speech be unwavering. Bless always, declare always. Refuse to let negativity undo the work of your tongue. To declare wealth daily is to live as governor, not victim. You no longer wait passively for increase, you command it. You no longer describe lack, you override it. You no longer surrender to fear, you replace it with faith spoken aloud. Your life becomes a rhythm of affirmation, a sacred echo of divine law, and soon what you once spoke in faith will stand before you in form. Therefore, let declaration become your practice, your ritual, your way of life. Morning and night speak. At every transaction, speak. In moments of fear, speak. Let no day pass without decree. For every word is a seed, every seed a harvest, and every harvest begins with the faithful gardener of the tongue. Wealth does not begin in the bank. It begins in the word. Speak daily and watch as law bends reality to match your decree. The sacred command to speak when touching money. Every moment you touch money, whether to receive it, to count it, to spend it, or to give it away, you stand at a sacred altar. That touch is not casual, it is spiritual. It is not neutral, it is creative. For in that instant, your vibration and your words command the future of your supply. What you say in the presence of money becomes law in your financial world. Most people touch money carelessly. They receive it with fear, they hold it with doubt, they spend it with dread. They mutter phrases such as, "This won't last," or "There's never enough." In doing so, they curse the very substance that was meant to multiply. They take the moment of power and use it to declare loss, and then they wonder why their supply flees. But you are not called to handle money in fear, you are called to handle it in truth. Every dollar, every coin, every balance you see is divine substance in visible form. It is not separate from spirit. It is not disconnected from abundance. It is the shadow of the infinite supply placed in your hand as a reminder that God's wealth is nearer than you think. And because money is alive, because it hears and obeys, you must speak to it as you would to a faithful servant. This is why the command you give when touching money is sacred. Silence is not enough. Silence is not neutral. When you say nothing, the world supplies its own words, fear, lack, and confusion. If you do not bless your money, you are permitting the curses of the world to govern it. If you do not speak multiplication, you are allowing decrease to be assumed. The law does not wait for intention, it responds to decree. Therefore, make it your practice that every time you touch money, you speak aloud a command of blessing. Do not wait for the amount to impress you. Do not wait for wealth to be visible before declaring it. Even a single coin must be honored as divine seed. For within that small seed lies the pattern of greater harvests. $1 blessed with truth carries the vibration of millions. The sacred command is simple yet powerful. Divine substance cannot be depleted. I bless this money and see it multiply under grace in perfect ways. Speak it whenever you touch money, when you receive, when you spend, when you count, when you give. Speak it slowly, with certainty, as though you are establishing law in your world, for in truth you are. Notice how this command is framed. It does not beg, it does not hope, it does not plead. It declares, it affirms, it commands. You do not speak as one trying to convince yourself. You speak as one who knows the truth and expects obedience. The law responds to certainty, not to desperation. And when your words carry authority, your money must respond in kind. You may feel awkward at first. The mind trained by the world may whisper, "This is foolish." But remember, the world has already deceived you into believing money is lifeless, neutral, separate from spirit. That belief has not served you. Why cling to it? Instead, trust the law that has governed creation since the beginning. Words shape reality, and blessing multiplies what it touches. Let your fingers become transmitters of blessing. When you hand money to a cashier, bless it. When you deposit it in the bank, bless it. When you give it as a gift, bless it. Let your tongue become the rod of multiplication. Let every financial moment be sanctified by your word. For if every seed you plant is blessed, then your harvest cannot fail. Do not underestimate the power of this command. There are testimonies upon testimonies of people who began with little, but by blessing what they had, they witnessed increase they could not have imagined. A woman with only a few dollars spoke the blessing, and within days, thousands flowed to her from unexpected channels. Another drowning in bills began blessing each payment as circulation rather than loss, and soon her debts dissolved as new income streams opened. These are not accidents. They are demonstrations of law. Think of Jesus with the loaves and fishes. He did not lament their smallness. He did not declare insufficiency. He looked up, gave thanks, and blessed them, and the blessing multiplied them beyond comprehension. The same law is available to you. Bless the small, and it must become greater. Bless the little, and it must increase. This is why the sacred command must become your reflex. Do not let a single financial act pass without it. Let it be as natural as breathing. Touch a bill, bless it. Swipe a card, bless it. Receive a coin, bless it. Each blessing is a declaration to the law. Multiplication governs my supply. Each declaration engraves the vibration of abundance deeper into your being. In time, you will notice a shift. Money will feel lighter in your hands, freer in your spirit. You will no longer dread spending, for you know circulation ensures return. You will no longer resent bills, for you know they are opportunities to prove law. You will no longer feel shame in receiving, for you know your wealth blesses others as well. Money will cease to be an enemy and will become what it was always meant to be, a servant, obedient to your word. So make this your new commandment: never touch money without blessing it. Never handle it without declaring increase. Let your voice sanctify every dollar, every coin, every balance. For the law is faithful. Whatever you bless multiplies. Whatever you honor expands. And every time you speak truth over your money, you align yourself with the rhythm of divine supply. Touch the dollar, bless the dollar, command the dollar, and watch as your supply rises to meet your decree. Morning and night blessings as financial keys. There are two sacred gateways that govern the flow of your life: the moments just before you fall asleep and the moments just after you awaken. These are not ordinary moments. They are thresholds, openings between the conscious and subconscious, where your words sink most deeply into the fertile soil of spirit. What you speak at these gates becomes the rhythm of your day, the foundation of your night, and the pattern your subconscious repeats without resistance. The world has taught you to waste these moments. At night, many fall asleep, rehearsing fear, reviewing their worries, or replaying images of lack. They let the last words on their lips be, "How will I pay this?" or "It's never enough." And those words, like seeds, are planted in the subconscious, which waters them throughout the night. When morning comes, the harvest of fear greets them again. At dawn, the cycle continues. Before their eyes have fully opened, before their hearts have remembered truth, they reach for their phones, filling their minds with news, emails, and noise. The first words they speak are often complaints. I'm tired. I don't want to go to work. This day will be hard. And again, the law, impartial and obedient, takes these words as command and shapes the day accordingly. But you are called to handle these moments differently. You are called to reclaim the night and sanctify the morning. You are called to speak blessing at both gates, and in doing so, you set the tone for your entire life. At night, before you close your eyes, release every thought of fear and replace it with blessing. Hold your money, your wallet, or even the memory of your supply and say aloud, I now draw from the abundance within and see wealth without. Every dollar I touch returns to me blessed and multiplied. Let this sentence be the final vibration your body feels, the last sound your ears hear, the final decree your subconscious receives. As you drift into sleep, your mind continues to echo the blessing. The subconscious, impressionable and fertile, accepts it as law and begins to rearrange unseen channels to match. While you sleep, the soil is watered. While you rest, the seed grows. Then when morning comes, do not allow the world to speak first. Do not greet fear, email, or news before you have greeted your supply. Instead, rise and speak again. I now draw from the abundance within and see wealth without. Every dollar I touch returns to me blessed and multiplied. Repeat it slowly with breath, as though you are writing the law of your day. Touch your wallet, your purse, your bank card, even your phone if it carries your digital accounts, and sanctify them as symbols of supply. Let the vibration of blessing flood your being before you step into the world. This is the rhythm of power, the double blessing of night and morning. It is not occasional, not reactive, but consistent. Night and morning form the bookends of your life. If both are governed by blessing, then the hours in between must align with the same truth. Just as a river flows where its banks guide it, your day flows where your declarations direct it. When the first and last words you speak are words of increase, your entire life becomes aligned with abundance. Do not treat this practice as superstition. It is not about routine, it is about law. Law responds to rhythm. Repetition engraves truth into the subconscious. A single declaration may inspire, but daily rhythm transforms. The farmer does not water his seed once and walk away, he waters it daily until the harvest is sure. So too must you water your seed of abundance with words at the sacred gates of night and morning. Some may say, but I am too tired at night, or I forget in the morning. To them I say, would you forget to breathe? Would you forget to eat? As food nourishes the body, so blessing nourishes your supply. Without it, you starve your abundance. With it, you flourish. Discipline yourself until it becomes second nature, until blessing at night and morning is as natural as inhaling and exhaling. The testimonies of this practice are endless. Those who once went to bed rehearsing lack began instead to declare abundance, and within weeks, new streams of income appeared. Those who once woke up with dread began blessing their supply before stepping into the day, and soon they noticed opportunities, aligning unexpected provision, flowing debts, dissolving. The law is faithful, and when you give it consistent command, it obeys with precision. By sanctifying these gates, you reclaim your dominion over time itself. Night no longer belongs to fear, it belongs to blessing. Morning no longer belongs to worry, it belongs to wealth. And when both night and morning are governed, the middle of your day cannot escape alignment. This is the secret of the spiritually prosperous. They do not speak occasionally, but rhythmically. They do not bless only in moments of crisis, but continually until blessing becomes the pulse of their life. So tonight, before you sleep, bless. Tomorrow when you rise, bless again. Let this become the architecture of your life. For every day built on the foundation of blessing is a day aligned with abundance. Every week so framed must yield increase. Every life so ordered must overflow. Night and morning, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, govern them with blessing, and the middle shall fall in line. This is the key. This is the rhythm. This is the law. The act of circulating money with joy. One of the greatest misunderstandings about money is the belief that when you spend it, you lose it. This is the root of so much fear, tension, and resentment around finances. People sigh when paying bills, groan when seeing expenses, and shrink when money leaves their hands. They believe each outgoing transaction drains them, reduces them, or diminishes their future. But this belief is deception. Money is never lost. It is only circulated. And what you circulate with joy always returns multiplied. Circulation is the law of life. You see it in your breath. Inhale, exhale. You see it in water. Rain falls, rivers flow, oceans rise, clouds form, rain falls again. You see it in the body. Blood flows, oxygen moves, nutrients circulate. Where circulation is blocked, life withers. Where circulation is free, life thrives. Money, too, is governed by this same law. It is meant to move, to flow, to circulate. It is not meant to stagnate in fear or to be clutched with dread. The one who hoards, who holds tightly in panic, experiences the illusion of loss, for what is not allowed to flow becomes stagnant. But the one who gives, pays, and releases with joy experiences multiplication, for what circulates always returns. When you pay a bill, you are not being drained. You are demonstrating trust. You are saying to the universe, I know the source of my supply is endless. I release this money in joy, knowing it will return to me, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. That payment becomes a seed, planted in faith, destined to return with increase. The moment you release with gratitude, you open the channel wider. And the wider the channel, the greater the flow. But when you release money in fear, when you sigh at the rent, when you grumble at the electric bill, when you resent your giving, you are cursing your circulation. The law hears your tone, not your intent. It hears fear and mirrors fear. It hears resentment and mirrors resentment. The return is delayed, blocked, or diminished, not as punishment, but as principle. What you bless multiplies. What you curse withdraws. This is why you must handle every outgoing transaction with joy. Treat each payment as a testimony of trust. When the bill arrives, instead of groaning, bless it. Say, this is not a burden, it is proof I am trusted with substance. I release this payment in joy, and it returns to me multiplied. When you give to another, do not shrink in fear that you are losing. Say, this gift expands my flow. As I give freely, I receive abundantly. When you spend on yourself, do not feel guilt. Say, I bless this money as it circulates for my good, and I see it return multiplied. Every transaction is an altar. At that altar, you may speak blessing or cursing. If you speak cursing, you diminish your supply. If you speak blessing, you multiply it. The choice is yours each time. And when blessing becomes your reflex, circulation becomes joy, and increase becomes inevitable. Consider how different your life becomes when you adopt this view. Instead of dreading bills, you look forward to the opportunity to bless. Instead of fearing expenses, you see them as channels of return. Instead of shrinking when you give, you expand in trust. Money ceases to be a source of stress and becomes a sacred servant flowing freely through your life, always returning multiplied. Think again of the natural world. A farmer does not mourn when he scatters seed. He does not cry that his field has been diminished. He knows that scattering seed is the very act that ensures his future harvest. So too must you see every dollar released as seed blessed and destined to return. To hold the seed in fear is to deny the harvest. To scatter it in joy is to guarantee abundance. Even debts and obligations can be transformed through circulation with joy. Many people fear their debts, curse their payments, and dread their obligations. In doing so, they bind themselves to lack. But if instead they bless their payments, declaring each as a step toward freedom, the vibration shifts. The subconscious hears the blessing and begins arranging channels for increase. Suddenly, debts dissolve, unexpected provision appears, and freedom comes faster than effort alone could provide. Do not mistake this law. It is not about reckless spending. Circulation with joy is not waste, it is alignment. The difference is vibration. To spend in fear is to waste. To circulate in joy is to expand. Both may look outwardly similar, But the inner command makes all the difference. It is not the act, it is the vibration behind the act that governs the result. Therefore, make it your daily practice to handle all money with joy. Bless the outflow as much as you bless the inflow. When you receive, declare multiplication. When you give, declare return. When you spend, declare circulation. Let every transaction, whether large or small, be sanctified by your words. For in the law of spirit, circulation is not loss, it is proof of trust, and trust always yields increase. In time, you will notice the difference. Where once bills felt heavy, they will feel light. Where once giving felt fearful, it will feel expansive. Where once spending carried guilt, it will carry joy. Your financial life will no longer feel like a series of losses, but like the rhythm of a river flowing in, flowing out, never depleting, always renewing. Remember this truth. Stagnation is the illusion of loss. Circulation is the law of life. Bless the flow, trust the rhythm, release with joy. And watch as every dollar you circulate returns multiplied, carrying with it the proof that the law of increase never fails. Speaking abundance before it appears. The world teaches you to wait until evidence appears before you believe. It says, I will believe it when I see it. But the law of spirit declares the opposite. You will see it because you believe it. Abundance does not begin in the bank account, the paycheck, or the opportunity. Abundance begins in the word. What you speak in faith before it appears becomes the very blueprint that the law must build into form. This is the secret most never grasp. They look at their empty wallets and declare emptiness. They look at their small supply and confess lack. They allow visible conditions to govern their words. But visible conditions are nothing more than the echo of yesterday's decrees. They are not the truth. They are the shadow. The truth is that spirit contains endless supply, and your word is the key that unlocks it. To wait until you see increase before you speak increase is to remain bound to the past. To speak abundance before it appears is to create the future. Think of the farmer once again. He does not wait for the harvest to appear before declaring abundance. He plants in faith long before the crop is visible. He speaks of harvest while looking at empty fields because he knows that the seed carries the pattern within it. Your words are that seed. When you declare, my supply is endless, I walk in plenty, money flows to me in perfect ways, you are planting the seed of prosperity in the soil of spirit. It may not appear overnight, but the law guarantees that it must grow. Do not confuse this with fantasy. You are not pretending. You are not ignoring reality. You are creating reality. When you look at a small sum and declare, this multiplies, you are not lying. You are aligning with law. When you bless what looks insufficient, you are calling forth its true pattern. The loaves and fishes did not multiply when Jesus counted them. They multiplied when he blessed them. He spoke abundance before it appeared, and the law responded with increase. This is why you must train your tongue to declare plenty, even in the face of lack. When the account looks barren, speak, I see wealth surrounding me. My supply multiplies now. When the bills pile up, say, I circulate this money in joy, and it returns to me increased. When fear whispers, it is not enough, override it with divine substance cannot be depleted. My wealth flows to me in perfect ways. Speak as though it is already true, for in the realm of law it is. Your subconscious mind, which governs your vibration, cannot distinguish between what is seen and what is spoken with conviction. It accepts your words as reality and begins aligning circumstances to match. If you continually declare lack, your subconscious creates it. If you continually declare wealth, your subconscious gathers it. The unseen arranges itself around your decree until it becomes seen. There is power in persistence. At first, your words may feel hollow. The visible may contradict what you are saying. But continue. Every declaration is a strike of the chisel against the stone of reality. The form does not appear at once, but each strike shapes it further. Day after day, word after word, the unseen is being carved into form. Suddenly, what you once declared in faith stands before you as fact. This is the rhythm of demonstration. First the vision, then the word, then the manifestation. Vision without word is incomplete. Word without persistence is weak. But vision spoken with rhythm and faith becomes law, and law must produce. Consider those who have testified to this principle. A woman with no visible means declared daily, "I see checks arriving. I see bills marked paid. I see money flowing freely to me." At first, nothing changed, but she did not stop. She continued declaring, seeing it in her inner world, until her outer world had no choice but to agree. Soon, unexpected payments arrived, debts dissolved, opportunities appeared. What seemed impossible became inevitable because she spoke abundance before it appeared. This is why sarcasm and jokes about lack are so dangerous. When you laugh and say, "I'll always be broke," you are prophesying your own condition. The subconscious accepts it as command and arranges life accordingly. You cannot mock wealth and expect it to honor you. You cannot curse your supply and expect it to multiply. Your words are sacred instruments, and every one of them carries consequence. So I charge you now, guard your tongue. Refuse to speak lack, no matter what appears. Refuse to declare emptiness, no matter what you see. Speak only abundance. Speak only increase. Speak only truth. Not because you are denying reality, but because you are shaping it. Say this: when fear tempts you to confess lack, I do not wait to see before I speak. I speak, and then I see. My abundance is now. My wealth is sure. My supply is unfolding in perfect ways. Let this be your rhythm. Let this be your practice. For when the word becomes law in your soul, it must become matter in your hand. Do not wait for proof. Speak, and proof will follow. Do not wait for abundance to appear. Speak abundance, and it must appear. This is the rhythm of law, and it never fails. Overcoming guilt and shame about wealth. There is a thief, more hidden than lack, more destructive than fear, and more subtle than doubt. That thief is guilt. Many who begin to speak abundance, many who practice blessing their money, still find their supply limited, delayed, or diminished. And when the truth is revealed, it is this: though their words declare wealth, their hearts still carry guilt. Guilt is a silent rejection of supply. It whispers, "I do not deserve this." It says, "Others suffer, so who am I to prosper?" It disguises itself as humility, as fairness, even as morality. But guilt is nothing more than fear dressed in virtue. And as long as it rules your heart, it will sabotage your words. For you cannot bless your money and then secretly hate yourself for having it. You cannot declare increase while inwardly believing it is wrong to receive. Contradiction collapses demonstration. Understand this clearly. Your wealth does not deprive another. The universe is not a pie with limited slices. Spirit is infinite, inexhaustible, overflowing. When you receive, you do not take from another, you align with what has always been available. Abundance is not theft, it is testimony. Your prosperity does not diminish others. It illuminates what is possible for them. Yet the world has taught otherwise. Many religions, cultures, and families have embedded shame around money. They say money is evil. They say rich people are selfish. They say you should be content with little. These words, repeated for generations, sink deep into the subconscious. And even when one begins to declare abundance, these old voices whisper sabotage. You are wrong for wanting more. You are selfish for having plenty. And so the supply that begins to flow is blocked at the heart. But truth must override tradition. Spirit has no scarcity. The infinite cannot be exhausted. The same source that feeds the birds and clothes the flowers delights in your abundance. Wealth is not against God. It is of God when received and used in alignment with love. It is not selfish to prosper. It is selfish to deny the flow of blessing that could serve others through you. You must release guilt as you would cast off a heavy chain. You must cleanse yourself of the inherited shame of generations. For guilt is the silent agreement with lack. It is the inner vow that says, I am not worthy to receive. And as long as that vow remains, the law will obey it. The outer world will reflect the inner rejection. How then do you overcome guilt? By speaking a new truth with authority. The subconscious must be reprogrammed. The old voices silenced, the shame dissolved. Declare this aloud. It is right for me to prosper. I use money in love, and money flows to me in peace. My wealth is a blessing to all. I release guilt and walk in grace. Say it until it saturates your being. Say it until the voice of guilt is drowned out by truth. Say it until your body feels light with the certainty that abundance is your divine right. For when the heart agrees with the tongue, the law manifests without resistance. Consider this. What greater testimony can you give of divine law than to live in peace, in plenty, in freedom? Poverty does not serve God. Struggle does not glorify spirit. Fear does not uplift others. But prosperity and truth, prosperity that flows with love, that blesses others, that demonstrates abundance as divine reality, this is service to God. Your overflow funds generosity, sustains vision, and proves that the law never fails. Do not confuse guilt with compassion. Compassion says, because I prosper, I can give. Guilt says, because others lack, I should not prosper. Compassion flows with love. Guilt binds with fear. Choose compassion. Release guilt. For compassion multiplies your blessing while guilt blocks it. Remember also that guilt often hides in small phrases. When you say, I don't need too much, examine whether that is gratitude or guilt. When you say, I'd rather have just enough, ask whether that is peace or fear of overflow. When you say, I shouldn't want more, ask whether that is wisdom or inherited shame. Only you can discern the vibration. But know this, the law responds not to appearances, but to the true vibration behind your words. Wealth is not a crime. It is not selfish. It is not shameful. It is alignment with divine law. It is the natural result of blessing, circulation, and truth. To reject wealth is to reject the law itself. To accept it is to honor the source of all good. So walk boldly. Declare with certainty, nothing is too good to be true. Nothing is too wonderful to happen. Nothing is too good to last. My wealth is righteous. My abundance is holy. My supply is a blessing to me and to the world. Let this truth replace the lies of guilt. Let it echo louder than the voices of shame. For you are not here to struggle. You are not here to shrink. You are here to demonstrate the fullness of divine law, to prove abundance as reality, to live as testimony that guilt has no power over truth. Release guilt, and you release restriction. Release shame, and you release blockage. And as you walk in, grace wealth flows freely, joyfully, abundantly. The law is not offended by your prosperity. Spirit is not diminished by your overflow. The infinite is not threatened by your abundance. There is no scarcity in divine mind. So receive without guilt, give without shame, prosper without apology. This is not selfishness. This is truth in action. Real-life demonstrations of spiritual prosperity. It is one thing to hear the law explained. It is another to see it demonstrated in life. The mind hungers for proof. The heart longs for testimony. And the beauty of spiritual law is that it never hides its evidence. Again and again, when men and women have dared to speak truth, when they have blessed their money, when they have declared abundance before it appeared, the law has responded with precision. Consider the story of a woman who faced despair. She was out of work, rent due, cupboards bare. Fear surrounded her like a storm. By every natural measure, she had no hope. Yet instead of begging, instead of rehearsing lack, she touched her empty wallet and spoke aloud, God is my immediate and inexhaustible supply. Unexpected channels open to me now. She did not plead, she did not doubt, she declared with authority. Hours later, as she walked down the street, she felt drawn to look beneath a bush. There, hidden in the leaves, was an envelope bearing her name. Inside was the exact amount she needed, not only to pay her rent, but also to buy food for the week. Some would call this coincidence, but those who know the law call it demonstration. Another woman had only $2 left. The world said she was broke. Her friends pitied her, but she held those dollars in her hand and refused to curse them. She said, "This is God's money. It is spiritual substance. It cannot be depleted. I bless it and see it multiply under grace in perfect ways. Within a week, $6,000 came to her from a source she had not imagined. Did her words create the money from nothing number? They released it. The supply was always there, waiting for her vibration to rise and align. Her words were the tuning fork that brought her life into harmony with abundance. There are also warnings. One woman laughing with friends often joked, "One day I'll be living in a trunk on the side of the road." She said it playfully. They all laughed. But the subconscious does not laugh, it records. It does not know humor, it only hears law. And soon enough, that is exactly where she found herself, living in a trunk on the side of the road. Not because she lacked ability, not because opportunities failed, but because her words were prophecy. What she cursed, she created. You see, there is no such thing as an idle word. Every phrase spoken is seed. Every seed produces after its kind. This is not theory, it is law, and the evidence surrounds us. Those who constantly complain of money being scarce live in scarcity. Those who continually speak of money flowing freely live in abundance. It is not luck, it is not chance, it is demonstration. One man, deep in debt, began blessing every payment he made. Instead of groaning, he declared, "I circulate this money in joy and it returns to me multiplied." At first, nothing seemed to change. The bills still came, the debts still loomed. But he persisted. Every outgoing dollar he blessed. Every payment he sanctified. Within months, unexpected income streams opened. New clients arrived. Old debts were forgiven. Soon what once felt like chains became channels of freedom. His life proved the truth: blessing turns burden into increase. Another story tells of a woman who began speaking abundance at night and in the morning. Before sleep, she declared, "I now draw from the abundance within and see wealth without. Every dollar I touch returns to me, blessed and multiplied." Upon waking, she repeated the same words, touching her wallet with reverence. At first, her life looked unchanged, but within weeks, her financial situation shifted. Delays dissolved, checks arrived. She found money owed to her that she had forgotten. It seemed as though the world had suddenly opened doors, but in truth, it was her consistent rhythm of blessing that aligned her with law. These demonstrations are not limited to the few. They are available to all who will align with truth. The law does not choose favorites. It does not delay based on worthiness. It responds with impartial obedience to the vibration of the word. Those who bless multiply. Those who curse diminish. Those who declare receive. Those who remain silent submit to the world's lack. What is the lesson in these stories? That abundance is not magic, nor is lack misfortune. Both are the outworking of law. The difference lies in speech, in belief, in vibration. Speak fear, and you will experience fear. Speak lack, and you will experience lack. Speak abundance, and you will experience abundance. The universe mirrors the decree of your tongue with flawless precision. If you would see demonstration in your own life, begin today. Do not wait for the right moment. Do not wait until you have more. Start with what is in your hand, no matter how small. Bless it. Declare over it. See it as divine substance. Say aloud, "This money is blessed. It multiplies under grace in perfect ways." Repeat it with conviction. Persist until it feels true. And soon, as surely as night follows day, the law will deliver. Your life itself is meant to become a testimony. Others will look at you and ask, "How did you go from lack to abundance?" And you will answer, "By the word, by the law, by blessing my supply, and speaking truth." This is not merely for your own good. Your prosperity becomes a beacon for others, proof that spirit does not fail, evidence that law works without exception. Real-life demonstrations surround us, each echoing the same message. The law is faithful, the word is power, and what you bless must multiply. If it has happened for others, it can and will happen for you. For law is impartial, and spirit is inexhaustible. The only question is whether you will align divine order. In finances, many believe that prosperity comes only from effort, from careful calculation, from endless labor. They imagine that financial peace depends on budgets, schedules, or strategies. But true prosperity does not begin with paper or numbers. it begins with order. Not human order alone, but divine order. And when divine order reigns in your finances, confusion must bow, lack must dissolve, and supply must flow in perfect rhythm. Divine order is not the same as human control. Human order says, if I plan enough, if I work enough, if I save enough, then I will have peace. But even the best laid human plans collapse when fear enters the heart. Divine order, by contrast, is spiritual alignment. It is the harmonizing of your thoughts, words, and actions with the truth of abundance. It is the inner clarity that produces outer provision. When your finances feel tangled, delayed, or heavy, it is not because God has withheld your good. Spirit never withholds. Infinite supply is always present, always flowing. What has been disrupted is order. Your words have been inconsistent, blessing in one moment, complaining in the next. Your feelings have been divided, faith in the morning, fear in the evening. Your actions have been reactive, giving in guilt, spending in panic, saving in worry. And law, faithful as always, has mirrored the disorder. But the moment you bring your inner life into harmony, your finances must follow. For order is not optional in the universe. Every star follows its orbit. Every tide follows its rhythm. Every seed follows its pattern. When disorder appears, it is not reality but resistance. And when resistance is released, divine order restores flow. So what does divine order in finances look like? It begins with your decree. Each day, speak aloud. Every dollar in my world is aligned, assigned, and multiplying under grace. These three truths are the pillars of divine order. First, aligned. Your money must be aligned with truth, not with fear. When you handle it, do not let panic govern your vibration. Do not let guilt stain your giving. Do not let resentment poison your payments. Align every financial act with blessing, gratitude, and trust. Say, this money serves divine purpose. It flows in truth. It multiplies in peace. Alignment means that your inner state agrees with the law of increase, and when agreement is established, demonstration follows. Second, assigned. Money without assignment scatters. Money given no direction wanders. This does not mean hoarding or clinging. It means speaking destiny over your supply. Assign every dollar to a purpose of good. Assign it to provide, to bless, to circulate, to expand. Even when you save, do not save in fear of loss. Save in joy for future blessing. Speak. Every dollar I hold is assigned to divine purpose, and it fulfills that purpose with ease. Assignment turns money into a servant that knows where to go and what to do. Third, multiplying. Divine order does not leave money stagnant. Increase is written into the law of life. Seeds multiply, talents multiply, loaves and fishes multiply. And so must your money when governed by blessing. Declare, every dollar I release multiplies under grace. Every dollar I hold multiplies with ease. Every dollar in my life is fruitful and expanding. Multiplication is not a wish. It is the natural outcome of order. When you live by these three pillars, confusion dissolves. No more rogue spending born of fear. No more hiding from bills as though they hold power over you. No more guilt over wealth or shame over overflow. Instead, your financial life becomes a testimony of trust. Each action, a declaration of order. You give in faith, not fear. You save in wisdom, not worry. You spend in peace, not panic. You circulate in joy, not dread. And because every act is aligned with truth, law multiplies your supply. Divine order also brings peace. The anxious mind is always counting, always fearing, always bracing for loss. But when order governs, you know that your supply is steady, your seed is blessed, your return is certain. You no longer measure your worth by numbers on a screen. You no longer let circumstances dictate your trust. Instead, you rest in the rhythm of law, confident that what is aligned, assigned, and blessed cannot fail. Think of the gardener. He does not fret when the seed is buried. He does not panic when the soil looks empty. He knows order governs growth. He waters, he trusts, and he waits. And in due season, the harvest appears. So it is with your finances. When aligned, assigned, and blessed, they cannot help but produce in perfect time. Therefore, Let your decree be this: I do not manage money by might. I govern it by divine order, and what is governed by law cannot fail. Speak it daily. Write it in your heart. Let it guide every transaction. For when order reigns inside, chaos must bow outside. Your finances are not separate from spirit. They are not subject to chance. They are reflections of law. And when law is aligned with blessing, when every dollar is assigned to purpose, when multiplication is declared as natural, prosperity is inevitable. This is divine order, the architecture of abundance, the harmony of heaven expressed in the material world, becoming governor, not victim of money. Most people live as victims of money. They rise and fall with its presence, rejoice when it appears, despair when it departs. They let the numbers in their bank accounts dictate their emotions, their confidence, even their sense of worth. Money becomes their master and they its servant. Yet this is not the divine design. Money was never meant to govern you, you were meant to govern it. To be a victim of money is to believe that you are at its mercy, that money comes and goes by forces beyond your control. Victims say, I can't afford that. Victims sigh when bills arrive. Victims shrink when expenses appear. They act as though money has power over them, as though it decides their destiny. But money has no mind of its own. It is not master, it is servant, and the one who understands this truth steps into authority as governor. To govern money is not to dominate it through fear or to hoard it in panic. To govern is to guide, to command, to bless. It is to take your rightful place as one who speaks law, knowing that money must obey. You are not the slave of circumstances, you are the speaker of decree, and the decree you speak becomes the rhythm your money must follow. Think of a governor ruling a province. The governor does not beg the citizens to obey. He issues commands and the province aligns. His authority is recognized not because of his labor, but because of his position. So too is it with you. Your authority over money does not come from toil, but from your divine position as child of the infinite. You govern by word, not by worry. You command by blessing, not by fear. Those who live as victims often blame money for their pain. They say money is the problem, money causes stress, money is evil. But in truth, money only mirrors their vibration. If they handle it with fear, it reflects fear. If they speak over it with lack, it reflects lack. Money is not the problem, it is the messenger. And when you become governor, you stop blaming the servant and begin issuing better commands. Governors are intentional. Victims are reactive. The victim looks at a bill and groans. The governor looks at the same bill and blesses it, saying, I circulate this money in joy, and it returns to me multiplied. The victim looks at a small paycheck and mutters, it's not enough. The governor blesses it, saying, this income is divine substance. I see it multiply under grace in perfect ways. The victim fears giving. The governor gives with confidence, knowing that generosity expands flow. To govern money is also to establish order. You do not allow it to wander aimlessly. You assign it purpose. Every dollar you hold has direction. Every coin you touch has destiny. Speak to it. You are assigned to bless, to provide, to multiply. You are governed by law and cannot fail. Just as a wise governor ensures that resources are distributed with purpose, so must you direct your money with conscious decree. When you take this position of authority, fear dissolves. You no longer tremble when expenses appear, for you know you are the one who commands return. You no longer chase money, for you know it is drawn to you by law. You no longer resent wealth, for you understand that money is a tool, a servant, an instrument of good in your hands. But hear this warning, you cannot govern with a divided tongue. If you bless in one moment and curse in the next, you scatter your authority. If you declare abundance at dawn and complain of lack by noon, you weaken your command. A governor whose laws change daily loses credibility. So it is with you. Your words must be consistent, unwavering, faithful. Speak blessing always. Declare increase always. Refuse to let fear undo your decree. When you stand as governor, money recognizes your authority. It flows where you send it. It multiplies where you bless it. It returns where you command it. You are no longer pushed by circumstances, you shape them. You are no longer at the mercy of the world, you govern it through alignment with divine law. To step into this role, speak daily. I am not victim of money, I am governor of it. Money is my servant. It obeys my decree. Every dollar in my world is blessed, aligned, and multiplying now. Say it with authority. Say it until your body feels the truth. Say it until your mind bows to law. For when the vibration of governor takes root in your being, money must respond with obedience. Remember this: victims wait, governors declare. Victims complain, governors bless. Victims fear, governors trust. Which will you be? You were not created to be enslaved by money. You were not born to beg for supply. You were given the word, the authority, the position of dominion. Step into it. Govern with truth. Command with blessing. Direct with love. And as you govern in spirit, your finances will align in form. The final charge: living in the law of increase. You have now seen the foundation of this truth. Money is alive. It is spiritual. It obeys law. You have learned that words are never neutral, that blessing multiplies and cursing diminishes. You have seen the power of sacred command when touching money, the rhythm of night and morning blessings, the joy of circulation, the necessity of faith, and the release of guilt. You have stepped into divine order and taken your place as governor, not victim. And now you are called to the final charge: to live daily, consistently, boldly in the law of increase. The law of increase is not a theory. It is not a wish. It is not a superstition. It is the structure of creation itself. Every seed multiplies. Every generous flow returns with expansion. Every blessing comes back, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The universe itself was birthed by a word, and that word continues to expand endlessly. Increase is the rhythm of life, and you are called to live in that rhythm consciously, joyfully, and without interruption. To live in the law of increase means that you never again treat money as common. You never again touch it without blessing it. You never again spend with dread or receive with guilt. Every financial moment becomes sacred. Every transaction, an altar. Every word, a decree of multiplication. This is not occasional practice, it is daily lifestyle. The spiritually prosperous do not bless sometimes. They bless always. They do not declare only when convenient. They declare continually until declaration becomes identity. Your final charge is to embody consistency. The greatest enemy of demonstration is contradiction. Many bless their money in the morning and curse it by the evening. They declare abundance one day and speak lack the next. And law, impartial as always, mirrors the inconsistency. To live in the law of increase is to become unwavering. No matter the appearance, no matter the balance, no matter the circumstance, you speak increase, you bless, supply, you declare abundance. You refuse to let fear undo your word. This is why Scripture says, "Let your yes be yes and your no be no." In other words, let your decree stand without wavering. If you say, "My money multiplies," let no later complaint cancel it. If you bless your payment as circulation, let no sigh of dread revoke it. The law is activated by certainty, and once certainty takes root, demonstration is inevitable. To live in the law of increase also means walking in expectancy. You no longer ask, "Will it come?" You declare, "It is already here." You no longer wonder, "From where will it flow?" You say, "Money now comes to me from expected and unexpected sources." Expectancy is not impatience, it is faith in action. It is the inner knowing that what you have declared is already unfolding even if unseen. Just as the farmer expects his harvest, though the field looks empty, so must you expect your increase, though the account looks barren. Your daily decree becomes your anchor. My supply is sure, my word is law, my wealth is unfolding even now. Say it not once, not twice, but continually until your body vibrates with the certainty of it. Say it until your subconscious accepts it as reality. Say it until your outer world has no choice but to echo it back in form. This is the life of the governor. You no longer measure your worth by circumstances. You no longer allow fear to dictate your speech. You no longer handle money in ignorance. You live as one who knows that law is faithful, that blessing multiplies, that every word is seed, that every seed brings forth after its kind. And because you know, you cannot unknow. Because you see, you cannot unsee. Because you have heard truth, you cannot return to ignorance. From this moment forward, you are accountable to what you have learned. Each time you touch money, you remember. Each time you pay a bill, you bless. Each time you give, you release and joy. Each time you receive, you sanctify the increase. You are no longer beneath money, you are above it. You are no longer enslaved by it, you govern it. You are no longer confused by it, you bless it, and it obeys. The final charge is simple, but it demands everything. Live in the law of increase every day. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait until you feel ready. Speak now. Bless now. Circulate now. Expect now. For law works in the present, not in the future. Every moment is an altar. Every dollar is a seed. Every word is a decree. And the harvest is already forming, already moving, already on its way. So say this aloud with boldness as your final decree: money now comes to me from expected and unexpected sources. I walk in plenty, I speak in plenty, I live in the law of increase. My supply is sure. My word is law. My wealth is unfolding even now. Repeat it until it saturates your soul. Repeat it until it governs your actions. Repeat it until it manifests in your hand. For when you live in the law of increase, there is no failure, no delay, no denial. Spirit is listening. Law is moving. And your word, once spoken in faith, cannot return void. This is your charge. Live it, walk it, demonstrate it, and watch as your life becomes the testimony of abundance, the echo of truth, the unfolding of infinite supply. Now you know the truth. Money is not against you. It is not separate from spirit. It is alive, it listens, and it obeys. From this day on, never let a dollar pass without blessing it. Never let a coin slip away without declaring increase. Never let a bill arrive without sanctifying it as circulation. Speak with certainty, bless with authority, and walk in the rhythm of divine supply. Your wealth is not waiting, it is unfolding now. Your word is not powerless, it is law. Live this truth, and you will see proof, for spirit is listening. Law is moving, and your decree cannot return void. And so it is.